welcome back to the podcast of the Pomegranate Grove. We have such an exciting guest and a wonderful podcast planned for everybody today. But very quickly, we'll just introduce who we are. So I am Cassidy the Card Slinger. We also have Sharon.
Squirrel.
Sharon, Tarot Squirrel. And we have Khalid.
Yes, Khalid, also known as Khalid the Bond.
Wonderful. And us three with Mandy on the Moon, we are the members of the Pomegranate Grove. And we have an exceptional guest with us today. Her name is Debra Zachau. Hi, Debra.
It's nice to meet you. Hello.
Hello. Excellent. So Debra is the creator of the Clarity Tarot. So you maybe saw that in the title when you clicked on this video. So it's a new deck that came out just this year. And we are so excited to have an exclusive interview, get to know Debra and hear about her creative process and the deck. So I'm going to hand it over to Sharon and Debra. But Debra, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about kind of your background with tarot in general? Like
Sure.
where are you at with the cards?
So I always had an interest in predicting the future because I figured life would be easier if I could. And that was kind of sarcastic that I just said that.
Yeah.
But there was a metaphysical shop that opened up close to my salon. I was a hairdresser, and that was the only one at that time in Seattle. And I took every class, the astrology and the pendulum and palm reading. It didn't matter what it was. I just ate it up. And I was listening to your podcast actually this morning that you just put out about how you do shallow knowledge, where you just kind of just go over the surface of everything and whatever resonates and you build a fascination with, that's the path you go into. And that was tarot for me. So as I practiced, I would have my clients come in and they'd say, oh, I'm doing this and this and this in the next 6 weeks. And I would make a note of it. I'd go home and throw on it. And then I'd make my predictions. And then the next time they came in for a haircut, I would say, so how was that reunion or something? And then I checked my notes, all the while making sure that I understood what Spirit was trying to say through the cards. And so I course corrected that way. But when I moved to California, I really wanted to do this full time. And that's when I started. And that was in full time was 2007.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing it full time for a while. You teach as well, correct?
I do. I have I teach one-on-one and in groups, and especially now I'm really gearing up because Clarity Tarot just came out, and part of it is it kind of strays a little bit from the tradition because I've known, because I work on the psychic hotlines, and so I've just had so much practice with certain combinations that I know to be true. So I share that in the book, and it's a pretty hefty book too.
Yeah, that's a chunky book. I can't wait to finish all the way
Fat
through.
boy, and so that's kind of my background. Oh, and Kate. Oh, this is a good story. So I was teaching tarot, and I had an office. Really, I mean, like uppity. I was Miss Uppity. I had my office, and I had a class, and Kate came in. I knew Kate, and I said, I'm so surprised you're here. I didn't know you wanted to learn tarot. No, yeah, I'm interested. She sits down, class is over. Everyone leaves, but she stays. She says, I really don't want to learn tarot, the nuts and bolts of that. I want to do a tarot deck, though. She's an artist by trade. And I said, oh, and I have new ideas for the tarot. And that's when it was born. And then we made this deal that I would do the keywords and the book, she would do the art, and we'd collaborate. And boy, she didn't produce 2 cards a week. It took about a year. And we went back and forth, adjusted a few things to make sure everything was the right way we wanted to say it. And then the deck was born.
That is cool.
Wow.
That was like divine, meeting that because you had it brewing in your head already, right?
Yeah, I had everything I wanted to do, but except for the talent, the art talent.
I wish I can't even draw stick figures, but we had always heard that the best deck for somebody is the deck they create because that imagery and that symbolism comes straight from them. Because
Mhm.
back to what you said about how you changed, some of the card imagery to suit your symbolism. That's the
Mhm.
way it's supposed to be done. We're all supposed to have our individual decks. And I wanted to ask, does it read for you like a dream?
Yes, my reading. Okay, so for people who don't know the psychic hotlines, it's one call after the other about the same question. And when I use this deck, this sounds weird, but my predictions and the whole reading was more positive. It's not like I had to say a different answer. It's just that it seemed like it brought in more positivity into it, not as dire, for someone calling in crisis, right? And you don't, some of the other decks are kind of doom and gloom, I
Yeah,
think.
but it's
Um,
not like a fluffy bunny deck. It's got
no.
like that Four of Cups. Whoa, we were floored. We were floored. And Cassidy, jump in if you have any questions, because I know you have questions. Please. We were
Well, yeah,
floored.
absolutely. So Sharon and I did a flip through video together of looking at the deck, and that was the first time I got to see the cards. And one of the things that I just thought was so apt about it was the name Clarity Tarot, because what we were getting from the images, like it was so striking. And I feel like that's something you could turn the card over and get something so immediately from. And I know that like you are a professional reader by trade for many, many years. So I'm always very drawn to tools that are made by people in the industry, because there's
Mhm.
artists that are creating decks that are beautiful, but if it doesn't read, like it's a piece of
Right.
art, right? So
Right.
so your experience with, like, how long was this in your head kind of before it came to be? Like, was this something you've always wanted to do, create a deck? Or is it kind of after you met the artist that sort of,
No,
blended together in that way?
I always wanted to write a book about my interpretations, my experience, and so I was able to write this book in the Clarity Trail, and then I'm contracted for another book, and the manuscript has to be in by the end of the year for 2024, but it's a continuation, and it dives deeper into things. Like for instance, if you because it's so diverse, every picture is so diverse. If there's a reader out there, an advisor out there that has an affinity for past life, or I mean, there's so many different timelines inside this deck.
Yes.
And so that could be an avenue for you. And then of course the tangible and intangible with the money and the love. But I wanted to make sure that, because we're all unique, there's going to be something in this deck that saves your reading, that saves your, it just like up levels you. And I make a promise of this. And if it doesn't, if you find you're not feeling the magic, call me. I'm accessible. I want you to succeed in this. But how many times as busy advisors that we get a call, one call after the other, one's money, one's love, one's career, and you're back and you throw down and you're blank. Or you have a client that asks the same question in different ways, and you need to find a different or not a different answer, but a different way to explain the answer. This deck is going to save you and bring such value to that experience, that situation. And that's why I developed it, because I discovered once I got busy that life really does change, perspectives change, and our need for good tools change as well. So did I answer your question? I
Yes,
forgot.
yes,
I
I believe you
figured it
did
out.
for sure.
Okay, thank you.
one of the things I really loved about it, and I'll be straight up with you at first, I really don't like cards with meanings on them most of the time
Oh,
because it feels like it could be limiting for the reader. But the way that you did this, the way that you split it into the love and the money, the tangible and the intangible, I didn't even say that last one right. That struck me. That was this not only would be a great beginner's deck, but even people who've been reading for years. Like you said, somebody asks a love question and you get a coins card. So many students want to say, "Oh, I can't answer your question. The spirits are telling me to answer this question instead." No, you're
right.
showing every card can be about whatever it needs to be about. And
Yes.
I love that. And then the way that it was divided, like I know you know how it looks, but I'm showing it the way it's borderless, like Cassidy pointed out, but then
Oh,
this is just it's stunning. It's visually beautiful. So just everything about that and the way it comes together, and I like the words on these cards. I like
oh, thank you.
seeing those.
Good.
That's like
Yeah.
a first. And then I noticed I have a question because we were halfway through because I hadn't had a chance to even look at the book yet. We're halfway through and I saw this little circles and I was
Yeah.
thinking maybe they were because I need to get it really close to see. I was thinking, are those the Hebrew letters? And I came and like, no, they're Y's and N's. Is that a
Yeah.
built-in yes/no system?
Yes, it is, but I want to make sure that we address that because
Yes,
there's like so,
please.
so many people want to use the yes no by just looking at one card, and it's so much more than that. If I could just be bold and explain it, because I have gotten feedback. some some people do a flip through and they get to the devil and see that it's a yes and they say, oh, I don't like that. Wait a minute. I love my devils. I am a better person for my devils, just full disclosure. But one of the things is that when you have a yes no, sometimes the yes and no is for you as the advisor, and you need to frame the question. Am I ever going to get married is not a question. Am I going to meet my person by the end of the year is my question. So that's the frame of reference. So let's say, okay, well, am I going to meet someone? Am I going to meet my love? You throw 5 cards down, and the more ends would be yes, the more no's would be no. But each card's going to tell you why it's yes and why it's no. It's going to blow your mind how good. So let's say, we all have done this. We're all professionals. You get, am I going to meet my man or woman this year? And it says no. You don't want to say, oh no, you're not. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to wait till next year, right? In December, that's fine, but not in January. So wow, the cards are going to say why it's no. You might have the reverse 3 of cups. It might mean that the hermit. It can be so many different things that tell you, oh no. So what it says is, if you keep doing the very same thing as you're doing with the same expectations, it looks like the chances of life being able to synchronize up your best mate isn't going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months. And I don't go out years and years. I go a few months. So that is how you do a yes no. And thank you so much for bringing that up, some because that's really important, because there's more than just yes and no, right?
Well, when you do a
Yeah.
yes,
100%.
no, it's like if you say no, they're going to stop trying if you don't have reasons. And if you say yes, they're going to stop trying because they think it's written in the stars. So you have to give reasons, I think. And I love that you put it like that and that you have that system where they're not just giving the yes or no, but giving the whys. So
Yes.
that's beautiful. And I love that it's built right into that.
Yeah.
Um,
So I put
how
it,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
Well, I
no.
put it as so there is a system, that's why the devil is yes, is because all the majors are yes. All the court cards are no. all the odd numbers are no, all the even numbers are yes. So it favors yes a little bit by a couple cards than it does no, but that's the system that I've been working with, and I decided to put that system on the card.
So
So
that was
that's
something that presented, sorry.
go ahead, Cassidy.
I
Yeah,
was
we're
gonna
all
say, so
excited.
that's something that presented itself to you, like reading with other decks. So when you made your own
Yeah,
system, you got to put it right into the card. That's brilliant. I
Yeah.
love that.
Well, I think, I don't know if other people do it or not. I don't know if there's any one person that can come up with something so unique that nobody else has thought of. I don't know, but it sure, working like in this field, it's a solitary gig, man. You're
Yes.
alone. You're just alone, and so my mind says, okay, talk to me, spirit, talk to me. How can we do this? And yes, no's a lot of times is pendulum or coin toss. You don't have any information from that. So
Right. Yeah,
Totally agree.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and I love that you're able to present your system and your way of doing it. I don't know if you go on a lot of forums, but a lot of the tarot forums or the tarot community places, no, you're not supposed to do it like that. No, you're doing it wrong.
no,
And there is no wrong.
no.
If it's working, if you're getting valid results, then you're doing it the best way
Yeah,
for you.
this is
So-
the first time I've published my stuff, and there is some kickback to the point where when I'm writing my next book, it's like this full disclaimer, that where I keep the legacy, the history and legacy of each card, but this is only my opinion, my technique. It's
and how
not
they
set
speak
in
to you.
Yeah, but there's going to be something that leads even a beginner to a sense of confidence sooner than later, because I know that these things work.
Yeah. I can't wait to play with them. I'm like, I've got a reading tomorrow and I'm going to be reading with these. And I would like to say, usually when I get a deck, because I'm never going to make my own deck because like can't draw stick figures.
Never say
But
never.
but like even my favorite decks, there's always that one, maybe up to 3 cards. Otherwise, it can't even be part of my favorite. But there's always those cards that you're like, meh. The rest of the deck is just phenomenal. And this 1 to 3 cards, but I'll take them. Not a single card in this deck. First deck I've ever gotten where there was not one card. I said, I don't understand that, or I don't like that. Every single one of them spoke.
I am starting to cry, literally.
You
Thank you.
need to know
Oh
that.
my God.
It is almost, I
Thank you.
thought I'd never find a deck that every card
Shit.
could speak to me. So
Thank you.
thank you for this beautiful gift.
Now I am a mess. I won't be able to
Oh, I'm
finish
sorry.
It's absolutely stunning. We were going through it, and like the details right from what is lit up in the card, like the cards look like they're glowing. The pages just completely stole my heart. And when we were talking about this not long ago, that sometimes people learning the tarot have a hard time with the pages versus the aces. And I thought like this would be the deck I would point people to if they had a hard time seeing those energies in a similar fashion, because they were just so cute and so they
Or
were
the
so full
court
of life.
cards
Like
completely.
the court card,
They made sense.
Yeah.
Beautifully done.
And it was really funny because in the beginning of the podcast, that I was like, I don't know if you can hear the cards, and I meant see because my camera was too far away, and then we start flipping through, and Cassidy's like, "Oh, there's music notes." I was like, "Oh my God, there's sound in our tarot cards."
Just so cool.
There's music.
Wow.
That's
It's
for
like you
sure.
put
So beautiful.
all the senses into it's really a phenomenal deck. The
Oh, thank
art
you so
is
much.
beautiful, the ideas. You must have had to, if her not knowing tarot, did you have to give her a great deal of direction and
No, no, because she would research the symbology of a lot of different tarot decks, a lot. And so she'd have a concept, and then she would make sure all those symbols and signs end up in it. But I did say that I couldn't speak to the astrology, because some people do astrology and tarot and they see the astrology in the tarot. And I said, I can't, I can't teach that part. So I'd rather not have that part in it. But I think there are some cards that have the symbols,
it's really
astrology.
funny that you say that because the emperor is usually associated with Aries through the Golden
Uh-huh.
Dawn's thing. And every time I look at an emperor on every other card, I'm like, no, that's Capricorn. That's a Capricorn. Your
Oh yeah.
emperor,
Oh, then you.
your
I gotta
emperor
find the emperor.
is an
Oh,
Aries.
I just did
That's
it.
an
Yeah, I
Aries.
just.
Yes.
I know. See, when you take away all the rules and regulations, then it's the creativity. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh. I just picked the deck up and found it. Oh, love
Just
it.
the way that the symbolism is incorporated into the cards was just brilliant. You have to
Yeah,
let her
she's
know
good.
that was just
Yeah.
amazing. Even the
Oh.
star, the heron that watches the star from the tree, the
Uh-huh.
heron's in there. It's just flying. And then that tree, the reflection of the tree,
Yeah,
just all the
I know.
details is just
Isn't it amazing? I know. She thought of everything.
She-
Everything.
really
She's really,
fantastic artist. I'm
yeah.
so glad she came to your class.
Well, yeah, I
It's
think
so beautiful.
she didn't come to my class to learn tarot. She came to my class, I think, to ask if we want to co-create something. And she had a art studio in town, that was just bustling. And then she's got out of that and she's doing independent stuff. So anybody listening that has the creative muse, if you want to do a children's book or regular book or a tarot deck or anything like Kate Matthews is your woman.
Ooh,
She can work
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So I
because
have a
she's really
question.
good.
Sorry, go ahead, Sharon. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying she's really, really good. And good is such an understatement. There's phenomenal.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I was really intrigued that you said that, I mean, and correct me if I misunderstood, that when you moved to the tarot from doing the psychic telephone work, you felt that in a natural way, the deck that you were creating was kind of setting up a more positive platform or a positive kind of method of giving kind of engaging with others through that psychic medium, right? If I understood correctly. Is that right?
One of the things is that I still work on the hotlines. That's my, my thing. But when I was using other decks for years and years, I was using other decks. It felt like I couldn't expand or didn't have the right more than one word to describe. So that's on me. It's not on the deck. The deck was beautiful. I used Ciro's deck, so it's a beautiful deck. But when I created this deck and I started using it in readings, I found personally that I automatically had more to say to someone, and
Okay.
it was more positive. That it's just that small little thing that happened, and that surprised me.
Uh-huh.
That was a surprising situation. I thought, oh, things that make you go, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I find it very intriguing for that reason that it seems to be mysterious, right? But do you have any thoughts about why why that is. Is it maybe because the designs came out of like your own very individual kind of experience of life and understanding of life, and maybe it's because you're maybe inclined to be more positive in your outlook on life? Is that one possible explanation, or is there another one?
There is another one. What I do when I read, so here's the deck, just full with the gold on it and everything, right? And I went to FedEx Kinko's. I do this with all my decks, by the way. I took another full deck and had it cut smaller. So it's this, let's see. You can see one square
Oh,
and one is rounded and smaller, much smaller.
yeah.
So when I did that, let me show you, because I like to work with small, and I was going to address that. You know, I don't like, you were saying, Sharon, that I don't like cards with words on it. Then you could cut them off even.
Oh no, no,
So
no, no. I'm not cutting them off of this one. I love this
So
deck.
all around, so I went to FedEx Kinko's, and so you see all the gold is taken off, except for there's a little bit of gold at the bottom, right? So I know when I hold my deck, when I'm in a reading, I hold my deck this way with the gold out. And when I flip it, they're always upright. And when I go back, even though I read extensively, I read reverse, crosses, combinations, all this, but sometimes too much information will mess you up too. So Khalid, what I've done is gone back to reading upright because I cut it this way, and I thought, well, let's give it a try. And I found that that shift happened where it wasn't going down any rabbit hole of reversals, that type of thing.
Especially on the phone lines, that fast pace, you don't have time to go down rabbit holes.
Oh, and
Yeah.
you can get hooked into it, you know.
Right. That makes sense.
Because the spirit will give you a whole lot more information than your client needs to hear. So and so it keeps you on track.
Do you
Yeah.
find that with this deck, because this deck has a lot of movement and flow in it, it doesn't, it like even the you know how bleh in say the Rider-Waite or a lot of decks, I will take speech therapy soon. The
You don't have to.
major arcana are static. They're not moving, and the court cards. But your majors and your courts have a lot of flow and movement. Do you find that you're able to give more actionable advice, things that they can
Yeah.
actively do instead
Yes.
of I'm seeing that with
And
these that
and
these
you can
can
do
put it
that.
in that.
That's the cool part. That's the cool part. If you throw down, you don't have to do like a Celtic cross for everybody, even though that's my favorite. You can throw down 5 and just look at how much water is in it. How many images have water? And then you can connect that. I'm not saying that's what you do. It's just this is how your intuition is going to start opening new doors. And the first thing you see is all this water. And so then you say, oh, I'm getting water. I think there's, you can ground yourself or help yourself out with a nice bath or something like, self-care is with water. That's what I mean about all this information.
Yeah.
So much.
Love it. I've got to
Definitely.
share. Speaking of, I think that like this, I love all the cards, but this is one of my favorite.
Oh,
Can
yeah,
you guys see that? 8 of Pentacles.
Oh, yes, I adore that card.
That is so epic. She's washing dishes. That is the repetitive work. That is so beautiful.
Right.
This deck is alive.
It
So
is
did you?
absolutely stunning. I just have a question because it goes back to an email we got from you a while back. And I'm going to just read this part because I thought you said this so beautifully. So you said the Clarity Tarot will help you stay inside your intuition and not float off into your imagination, which does happen when distracted. I don't care how seasoned you are. I think that's brilliant. Yes. And then you said, my deck has 5 specific components that any of which the wary reader can tap into and provide accurate and concise information for their clients. So we talked about like the yes/no system, and then you've got the love and money. What are the 5? Well, I guess you probably talked about a couple of them, but what are the 5 components that are in your deck?
So we have the yes, no, we have now, oh my gosh, I forgot, I'm blank now. The
Sorry.
yes, no, and then the, no, that's
We're
okay.
related.
Oh, the different cultures and the different races and the different, and that type, but there's also a timing thing. Now the timing, Red Feather, who published this deck, something slipped by, and one of the components did not get printed on the deck, but it is in the book. And what it is all the major cards were supposed to have a number on it, you know, like 0 for the Fool, 1 for the Magician, 2, and that was going to be your, you know, you toss down cards till you get to the first major card, and whatever that number is, then your intuition can say, oh, it's 15 days, or what I'm seeing here is 15, whatever you're comfortable with. So now on the second printing, if I'm lucky enough that this is a second printing, they said they would put that back on, but you can look in the book and see what that is. Another way to do timing is I stick to a 1 month increment. So they're manifesting something and that can happen tomorrow or within the 1 month, because I figure life is synchronizing up something for you. And so let's say after a Celtic cross, the 10th card, if the 10th card is not a major card, I keep laying cards down until I get to a major card, each card representing 30 days. If perhaps you have 6 or more cards down that aren't majors, no major comes up, then you want to stop the reading because your prediction is way too out there. The farther you get, your prediction gets from the time of the reading, the less likely it's going to come true, because there's so many different things that can happen in between. That's why I keep it tight. Yeah, the timing stuff, some advisors don't do it at all. And
The popular question. People like to know time, and I like, you know, even when I read for myself, or I have questions like, you know, when is very important to how we plan our moves and kind of thing. So I usually seek advisors that do timing when I get a reading as well.
Yeah. Well, another way you can do timing is if you like the Celtic cross as much as I do, the first 5 cards out means pretty much imminent, and then the second 5 cards goes into the month. That's a theory I'm testing, and you're more than welcome to take it and test it as well. And so far, it's been quite accurate. Really,
very nice.
Timing. I think you have to be really seasoned to start playing with the timing and really knowing your cards. I have a timing system that I would never be able to explain because it's complicated to anybody but me, type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'm definitely going to play with yours as well, if you don't mind, because everything you can learn is just going to make you better. We're never going to stop learning here. And we get somebody in here that like you've had some great advice for everybody here. I'm gonna listen. I want to learn. I want to get, you know.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, like, I'm struck by, I don't want to use the word balance, but like the coexistence of this emphasis on intuition, reading the cards intuitively, not letting your mind get distracted by thoughts, right? On one hand, but also you have a very whole system built into the cards that has a very practical kind of motivation, you know, coming up with a clear yes or no question, or coming up with clear ways of timing, for example, you know. So I mean, that's very interesting to me. It seems like something that makes the deck maybe unique and maybe quite well-rounded as well. I'm also interested in the mediumistic side
Oh,
of
sure.
the creation of the deck, and maybe possibly how it works. And, you know, and
That's
I
right.
noticed that, you know, that aspect of it, of the deck's history, right, or its like infrastructure, right, is very much out there for the public. Like it's even there in the way that the Amazon description, right, of the deck, right. That's really interesting. I find that fascinating to me. Like how what for you
Sure.
is the connection between, and not only your experience of mediumship, but mediumship in general and the tarot.
Okay, so I started this as an idea,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put it into practice, and it seems to be really, really successful. Now, remember, I just told you about cutting the deck and only using it upright. For mediumship, you have to shuffle mixed like regular, and it's got to be upright and reverse. Just shuffle whatever. And so, how I do medium, someone's really want. I don't say, tell me who you want to bring in. You want to see who's here, and
Uh-huh.
then you start. This is how I do it. I start laying cards down until I get a reversed court card.
Okay.
The reading for the client begins there. So if the next card is an upright court, then the message is, let's say I'm reading for you, and the next card's going to be a Queen of Cups upright. I'd say, well, this message is for your mother or mother figure. And so it's up to you to take the next cards going down, that message to your mom. You see what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
And it's
Brilliant.
real fast, real fluid. So then and it's been my experience, but I did put it in the book, but it's been my experience that most messages from past loved ones are given in the next three cards. As long, but let's say, here's another thing. Let's say I get a reverse court card and it's a knight. And the suit is going to tell you what their personality is. Oh, I've got this. The Knight of Wands comes to mind. Oh, I've got, when he was alive or she was alive, he's so active and so creative, and describe it, right? Oh yes, that's Billy or something like that. Okay, well let's see what happens. If perhaps the next card or two cards is another reverse court, then you can say he passed, and these are the people who greeted him. He is with the other people, see? And then the next card is going to start the reading for your client. So let me be clear on that. I'm sorry to be jumpy.
Okay.
Reverse court, that's a past loved one with that personality of the suit. If there's, the next card is going to be, if it's not a reverse court or not an upright court, it's going to be the message for your client.
Okay.
Got it?
Interesting.
And
And yeah, what's the reason that the mediumistic part of the reading starts with the reversed court? Is that because that symbolizes a person passing out of life?
Yep.
Is that the idea? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I
Wow.
love that.
That is
Oh,
just
yeah,
so
yeah, my
brilliant. Yeah.
brain
Oh,
is
I
like, we
love
gotta
that.
play.
Let me let me give you one other thing. Okay, so since we're hot here, so if I'm doing a regular reading, just for someone on the phone who's lost and can, having challenges, sometimes, not all the times, if a reverse court comes in, I won't read it as a block and restriction for that person. I'll read it as someone who's a past loved one that's coming in close. And then I'll test that out. I'll think it, right? I'll think it. and I don't want to go into my imagination. I have to stay in my intuition. So the next card's going to decide whether I'm right or not, whether this is someone. And if it's a truth-telling card, then I know that, well, I've got some good news for you. You've got support from the other side. This is the person, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of different ways you get introduced, but I don't do that often unless someone's interested in mediumship reading, right? But sometimes it pops up.
That is so, see, I trust my cards implicitly reading, but mediumship, I'm not a medium. I'm just learning anything. It feels like imagination, where my cards feel like I'm having a conversation with whoever, the universe, but the mediumship seriously feels like imagination, and I'm terrified to say what the hell is in my head. So that would really help
Yeah, it keeps you on
come to
track.
trust the
Right,
I love
right,
that. Thank you
exactly.
for sharing
So
that. Thank you
try
for
it out.
asking that question, Holland.
And and you know, the intuition, or sorry, imagination is not a bad thing because we need it to tell stories. We need it to explain things. That's our imagination. But yeah, the cards are going to keep you on track with what they want them to hear. And it really, so I mean, it's really worked well. So I hope you try it.
Oh, yeah. So,
Oh,
because
I
I've
will,
been doing
definitely.
messages, because I work with two mediums, and they'll give the mediumship readings, and I'll give the messages with my cards. But they're like, you got to try it without the cards on. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah. It's so
And now I
interesting. I
don't
mean,
have to.
yeah. It's so interesting to me. I feel like it's synchronicity that we're having this conversation because very recently in early November, I was reading at a fair and two people, it was like a 3-day fair, and then two people came specifically with questions about their recently deceased parents. A guy was asking about his mom, and a woman was asking about her dad. And they came with this, I guess, this predictable kind of mentality, or I don't want to say like this assumption, this predictable assumption that a tarot reader is a medium, is a psychic, is an astrologer, is going to give them all the answers they want, you know? But I'd never been approached with a question like, is my father looking out for me? How's my mother doing now? Is she feeling
Oh,
okay? You know? So it really took me by surprise. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't have a set, because the other thing is like, um, it's a bit tricky to make kind of okay, it's a bit tricky from my perspective at least to make pronouncements about the dead, right? When you don't have mediumistic connection to them naturally, right? And you also don't have a philosophy of what happens after life, right? What's
if you
supposed
don't
to
have a
happen. It's a
philosophy.
bit tricky, right? So in that case, I felt like I had to rely on the cards, you know, they had to be my guides at the time, you know?
Right,
And it was so interesting, like what I came up with, like the message, and it was like, yeah, well, your mom is feeling this way. She didn't have an easy death, but these are the reasons, you know? And I was just going by what the cards were saying, and it all resonated with
yeah,
the client, you know? And it was, for me, it was like I discovered something in that moment, like the tarot can be your
yeah.
medium, you know? So,
Anything. Coolest
yeah.
question I've had in I swear to God, the last 6 months, if you don't mind me telling this little story, and it's from the mediumship. But she said, my dead sister keeps talking to mediums. I don't want to talk to her. Why she's keep doing this, and what can I do about it? And I was thinking, oh man, she must have a message. She really wants to throw those cards down. I was like, wow, she's just being mean. She knows how to piss you off, and she gets a kick out of it. I was so shocked.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
And she was like,
Exactly.
I thought so. Like, just walk away,
Oh,
man. Walk away.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that's funny. Isn't that something that we do take our own stuff, you know, when we pass away, we do have that happening, but that
I
was
was
good.
so
Good for you.
shocked.
Well,
But
it's
now,
amazing.
with what you've told us, I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable because that's all new to me. That's something I've never done before um, with the mediumship. But what the advice you've given us today, thank you for that. Thank you for
Yeah, you're
asking that
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you. That's
question.
brilliant.
Enjoy.
Never
It's
gonna see
gonna,
reversed quartz the same again.
Oh, right, right.
It's just added something else. That's beautiful.
Yeah, we should
awesome.
probably let Nicole and Kelly ask some questions, or we're gonna keep we're gonna keep Deborah here all night.
That's fine with me. I love it.
This
Hi,
is
Kelly.
excellent.
Hi.
Hi, Nicole.
I have no questions because my mind is just blown. It is almost Christmas, and my question is that deck already available for everyone?
It is. It is. It's,
I'm gonna have to mow down people to get to it.
it's on Amazon.
It is the answer to so many
Oh, thank
situations
you.
for me.
It is.
Right, Sharon? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it is a
Yeah.
seriously beautiful deck. It
I
flows,
just
it's
can't
got
get over it.
movement.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's available on Amazon and it'll be at your door overnight or something.
Yeah,
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I am
And
so in.
imagine the I was really having a bad day and I was not expecting this. And I opened this up and everything just went, ah.
I love it. I love it. Oh, thank you so much. That's nice.
I was
feedback.
thinking the same, Kelly, really. And I just sent my daughter a picture. Can you see that? If somebody is asking you what to give me for Christmas, yeah,
There it is.
I did that.
I have it written real big on paper here too.
Yeah.
Ah,
So this
Oh.
podcast will be posting on the 13th, the Tuesday the 13th. It will actually be posting. Deborah, did you want me to post we've got the other one already done and I've already gotten it edited. Do you want me to go ahead and post that so people can see those images, or do you prefer me to post it with the interview? Like sister videos.
I'm going to leave that up to you because I don't know the system you have, and I just it's fine. It's whatever you decide.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I don't know, we usually post, yeah, the podcast will come out Tuesday, but I think I'm going to post that deck review early so people can see the stunning
Oh yeah,
images
because
and
I just thought about that. If you did it early, then maybe the
get that Christmas rush.
So by the time you see this, we will have a video to see the cards.
Yeah, and we'll have a
Oh,
link so you can see each of these cards. I'm telling y'all, you're not going to get past the full. You're And
oh,
really, I mean, I wouldn't cut these words off for nothing. And they're
okay.
brilliant. They're actually, I mean, because some of them are just so keywordy and trite, but these are good. It's
They're
like-
different.
they're
Thank you.
different. Yeah, they're very unique. There's nothing out there like these.
I
They
like that they're multi-dimensional.
Very
Yeah.
much so. I
Yeah.
think during our flip through, Sharon and I were talking about this, but everybody has like a couple of cards, at least I do, that when I'm about to buy a deck, if I don't want to see the whole deck before I purchase it, there's a few cards that I need to see before I purchase it to make sure that they like fit. So one of them being the Three of Swords. I need that heart and I need the swords going through it. And I never thought it could have been improved upon. But where you have the two people in the shadows sitting back to back away from this card just took me somewhere. That
Okay.
I never thought you could improve upon the heart with the swords, but to have those two shadowed people in the bottom. Oh, that's right on the top of the book. Yeah.
Right on the book.
Oh,
Right.
Gosh. Do
I
you
know,
have
she
a
did
favorite
really
card?
good job.
That's a
all of them
stunning
are
card.
really good, but I mean, all of them are really great. And I kind of like the Nine of Swords, actually, with the guy in the
That
wheelchair.
Nine of Swords. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I got excited.
Yeah. The Nine of Swords, I really like that one.
That was one of the ones I think me and Cassidy both went, oh,
That was
it's
really
our sound
powerful.
effects on the video. And then the Page of Cups. I
Mhm.
will not buy a deck if my Page of Cups isn't right.
Mm.
Cassidy, what was my reaction to this Page of Cups?
Oh, you gotta watch the video. It was brilliant. She loves it. Oh my
I
gosh.
think I was
Can't wait.
screaming.
I love it. I can't wait to see that interview or see that flip through.
Mhm.
It was
Me
really,
too.
really
Dolphins in the
fun.
background. I mean, I was like jumping out of my chair. And I'm pretty tough about that Page of Cups, but there is not,
Awesome.
you guys, the court cards, when you see these court cards, you're never gonna have trouble with court cards again if you
Yeah.
ever do. Never.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
Thank you so much for coming with us. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for sending it.
Oh, sure. So if there is one, yeah, you're the only one I knew of in the United States. Cassidy and Khalid, and they're outside the United States, and
Mhm.
I couldn't get the deck outside the United States. So
Oh,
now
yeah,
it's
yeah,
available
Shipping,
yeah.
yeah.
outside the United States.
Yeah, of
Yes, it
course.
is.
So
I
that's
saw.
the
I checked on Amazon.
Yes.
I'll get my hands
Yes, we
on
can
it
all
I
get it
can
on
have it.
Amazon.
as soon as I can.
Because
Don't
no,
worry.
it's really
She's like, I
difficult.
gotta have it.
It's really difficult to get that decks. We only have, I told you before, we just have this, I don't know, everywhere, every place I go in Vienna, it's the same. And we don't have that beautiful decks here. So I'm really glad that I can buy it.
Yeah, I think you can buy it, sure. And so one of the things I want to say before we close is that if you wanted to be on my list to be for practice sessions with this deck, just go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, whatever email list, but put on there that you want practice sessions, and then I'll arrange that, because that's one of the things. You know, it's one thing to say, oh, this is how I feel about the tarot, and then all of a sudden you're left with it in your lap. I'm going to make sure people succeed if that's their goal, from novice to pro, and if that's their goal. So I'm going to say that.
And where can
That's
people find you, Deborah? What's
yeah.
your website? How can they find you?
My website is myname.com, so it's debrazachau.com, and also my training class. It's a 31 video course that's at training.growyourlight.com, or just through my website. Everything's through my website anyway. So
That's
and then
fantastic.
Amazon, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been such a wonderful hour. Thank you so much.
And we have a
Yes.
book to look
Pleasure is
forward
ours.
to as well. We'll have to bring
Yeah.
you back for that.
Oh, thank you. I would love to.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for creating this amazing deck. Please, please tell Kate that.
Oh, yeah.
Mwah.
I will definitely do that. She's going to love this interview so much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we will see you next week at the Pomegranate Grove.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for engaging with us. Please like, subscribe and share. To book a personal, in-depth reading and to learn more about our incredible courses in tarot and astrology, please visit our website www.thepomegranate.grove.com.